Charlie Kirk, super right-wing conservative public figure, has been killed, and it's important for us to review our initial thoughts, opinions, and reactions about this case, to review his life and his death.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Welcome, family. Family, welcome. We have much to discuss this evening. It's breaking news. If you guys have not seen it, I had to do a whole switch up. I was going to talk about a whole nother thing, had clips, had articles, all that stuff loaded up for a whole nother thing. But we got to talk about what happened today. Charlie Kirk, okay? I would say suspected white supremacist if there was anything suspected about this. But Charlie Kirk is a well-known, unapologetic, open, blatant extremist white supremacist who's condoned extremism, who's condoned anti-black racist, bigoted violence in every way possible up until his dying breath, quite literally. All right. So we got much to go into tonight. Okay. I know this is going to be, normally I don't switch the topics on such short notice unless it's big, but this is big. This is big news. So we're going to get started with kind of giving you guys the details. I'm sure you guys have already kind of heard it, but there's still some facts we want to kind of get straight. As of right now, I'm just going to report on what is official as of right now. As of right now. Keyword as of right now. Okay. But then we're going to talk about the karma of it all. Okay, so let's get into some of the official facts of the situation. This comes from AP News. We got to be real quick with it. This is the conservative activist. They call him an activist. Oh, I guess he's an activist now. Okay. The conservative activist Charlie Kirk assassinated at Utah University. All right. We're going to get into some of the details of this. It says Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist and close ally to President Donald Trump, who played an influential role in rallying young Republican voters, was shot and killed Wednesday at a Utah college event in what the governor called a political assassination carried out from a rooftop. Okay. So this is him. This is the governor. He's saying, quote, "This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation," said Utah Governor Spencer Cox. He says, "I want to be very clear. This is a political assassination. I want to stop this right now. We're not doing that. Nope. Because the thing is, they caught somebody. They caught some older white man, and then they released him saying that he wasn't the dude. There's been video, and I can't really show it because it is graphic, y'all. I can't really show the video because the video shows, I mean, I'm talking about, it looked like Mortal Kombat, how much blood. And so I can't show that, but there was another video of a man on a rooftop. Very interesting. Very interesting. Another man on a rooftop. As of right now, they have not caught the man. The man is still at large, or at least they are not announcing that they caught the man. So until they announce that they caught the man and then can figure out exactly what his motivation was, we can't jump to the conclusion and say that it's a political crime. Why are they not framing this as if this is a white crime? Why are they not framing it that way? You know, they're trying to frame the narrative as if it has to do with his political views. Well, until you catch the guy, we don't know. Charlie Kirk, it could have been fentanyl. We don't know. Charlie Kirk, he might have been in a gang. We don't know. Charlie Kirk might have owed his somebody money. We don't know these things. Okay. Was Charlie Kirk in some type of underground gang? We don't know. There's a lot of questions. Let's not make assumptions. I think it's very dangerous for us to make assumptions. Okay. I think it's very intelligent for us to make questions, for us to ask questions. All right. So let's continue. Okay. Oh, it's a dark day. It's a dark day. I agree. It is a dark day. You know what I'm saying? For y'all. I mean, but they say, you know what they say? They say it's always darkest before the dawn, or something like that. They say something like that, I guess, right? They say something like that. Okay. It continues to say, no one was in custody late Wednesday, though authorities were searching for a new person of interest. According to a law enforcement official familiar with the matter, who was not authorized to discuss the situation by name and spoke on condition of anonymity. Um, it says authorities have earlier provided evolving information on the status of the manhunt. The FBI director Kash Patel, okay, y'all didn't like Kash Patel before. Kash Patel initially saying on social media that the subject had been taken into custody, only to later say that the person that has been released after being questioned. So they got a guy. They did get a guy and that's what the FBI director said. They got a guy and then they let him go, saying that the guy wasn't the guy who did it. Now it was somebody else on the rooftop. So apparently the FBI don't know what they doing that much. Okay. This is kind of wild here. This is kind of wild. It says authorities did not immediately identify the person who's been in custody, a motive, or any criminal charges. Okay, well, if y'all don't know a motive, how can y'all say it's political? It says, but the circumstances of the shooting drew renewed attention to an escalating threat of political violence in the United States. You mean white violence? They keep trying to frame it as political violence. It says that in the last several years has cut across the ideological spectrum. The assassination drew bipartisan condemnation, but a national reckoning over ways to prevent political grievances from manifesting as deadly violence seemed elusive. Okay, well, here's the thing. Let's be honest. Is it political? We don't know. It could be. It's probably political. But let's be honest. Charlie Kirk. This is what happened with Charlie Kirk earlier today, and this is something that we all need to be paying very close attention to, because the environment is about to be very tense right now. We already have a bunch of other people of Charlie Kirk's ilk of Charlie Kirk. You know, Charlie Kirk is not even really suspected. Charlie Kirk, the white supremacist who spewed a bunch of white supremacist talking points. His assassination, him being taken out like that, has gotten everybody afraid. Now everybody is in terror of what could happen to them next, including somebody who also goes to college campuses. Let me tell you something before we get started. Charlie Kirk likes to have an evil environment. Charlie Kirk is, this isn't to speak ill on the dead, but let's speak truth on reality. Charlie Kirk is an evil person. Charlie Kirk has promoted evil. He's promoted sickness. He's promoted devilish behavior, which is white supremacy. This is Charlie Kirk, who's done all of these things, who's promoted all of these things, who's condoned and defended every single last one of these things. Charlie Kirk has done that. Charlie Kirk goes to different schools and different campuses, and he does so he can create the new breed and the new batch of evil people like himself, and to trigger and to rage bait other people, to create nothing, not education, okay, but to create chaos. And Charlie Kirk went to this university and with the pursuit of creating further chaos, not knowing that chaos was eventually going to follow him. Chaos followed him, and the Frankenstein monster that Charlie Kirk defended. Charlie Kirk bigged up, Charlie Kirk fed, and you thinking it's good when you feeding a little lion, when you feeding a tiger, when the tiger's a little puppy, that pup they call it, or cub, sorry, where you can pick up and you can hold a small little baby tiger or a baby lion in your hand. You can hold a little bear when the bear is a baby in your hand. You can do that. Okay, but you keep feeding this stuff, and you feed it thinking that this is going to attack black people. That's what he thought he was going to do. He thought that this small little, I'm gonna be consistent with it, this bear that he was feeding, when he was holding it, he thought that he was raising and grooming this bear to be an attack bear in this instance, on the black community. And unfortunately it was. But the thing is that when you feed this thing, it's somewhat gets too big for you to hold. And that's Charlie's problem. It got too big for him. He fed and bred a monster. He created a situation for a monster to live in, and the monster came back home. And as Malcolm X has said beautifully, you cannot get upset when chickens come home to roost. And a lot of people are getting upset because a lot of people right now are feeling like their chickens are going to come home to roost. Let's look at this situation. Oh, yes, this is interesting. Ben Shapiro's event he has a Reagan Library in Simi Valley is canceled in aftermath of Charlie Kirk shooting. So yes, Ben Shapiro has gone around and promoted evil, degeneracy, demonic actions and behaviors. He can condone that. He is of the same ilk as Charlie Kirk, and he has seen that Charlie Kirk's the karma has swiftly come for Charlie Kirk, and Ben Shapiro is hiding under a table right now because Ben Shapiro's hearing that cuck from the chickens coming to his yard, coming home to roost. And Ben Shapiro don't want that he don't want that smoke neither. Ben Shapiro don't want that smoke neither, do he? Hey, ain't that something? Ain't that something? Ben Shapiro don't want that smoke neither. And this is what we're saying, okay? I want us to understand that this time that we're in is a very divine time. This time that we're in is a very special and unique time, okay? I want us to understand something as foundational Black Americans, us in particular, okay? The second we started to really be in alignment, you notice I've been using that word quite frequently because I really feel like that's what we're in, okay? We've tuned in. You know how you can tune a radio and you can make that radio change its frequency. We've tuned into the right frequency and we're starting to get a lot of victories. We're starting to get a lot of things happening for our benefit now, okay? And you're also seeing the fall of a lot of people who've been against us. It's like we're protected, chosen people, if you will, okay? It's like we're almost the real chosen people, but let me not go there. It's almost as if that's the case. And you're starting to see this amount of protection, this almost divine protection in karma going to other people. You're starting to see other people fall off, whether they're political, whether that's their political election, whether that's their life, whether that's them trying to steal our culture away from us, whether that's the CEO of Target, whether that's the CEO of Essence, whoever the case is, anybody, it seems as if they come for us, they're getting knocked off the map. Now, Charlie's been building up and his deposit of karma and evil and chaos. Eventually, the pot has overflown. The pot is really boiling over with Ben Shapiro, which is why he's hiding under a table right now. And this is something that we've been trying to warn people about. We've been trying to say, hey, let's not do that. Now, a lot of people are saying that, look, we shouldn't be out here and condoning people's death. A lot of people are saying that this is not the time. A lot of people are saying that, and I appreciate you guys. But let's get to some of this stuff, okay? I want us to get to some of this stuff. Hold on. Before we get started, as y'all hitting that like button, we got a lot of people in here. This is going to be a record-breaking one, y'all. We're going to play the copyright disclaimer to establish to YouTube that every single thing that we play thus far is protected under the guise of fair use. Everything we say, everything we play, every clip is all edited and under the guise of fair use. We'll be right back. As we are gone, we have well over 1,000 people in here. The first 15 minutes, y'all got to make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all got to make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. All right. I will be right back, family. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right. Well, okay, we here. So let's look at some of the stuff now. We all understand we're righteous people. We're very righteous people. We are the most righteous, you know what I'm saying, by our actions, by our history, by our culture. So we're like that. There's a time and a place for everything, though. Let's be honest. All it is, well, it don't matter. There ain't the time for that. I'm already seeing folk bucking their eyes. Let's not do that. We don't. Nope. Ain't no bucking y'all eyes. Come on now. Let's come on. Come on now. We ain't doing that. Listen to this.
Listen, I just saw the video of Charlie Kirk being shot, and I am beyond disturbed. I love his wife. That man just had two children. Listen, I get sick of the racist rhetoric too, and Charlie and I have had our words, but this is one of the reasons why I've asked if we could pipe down with pushing this rhetoric to see this man harmed in this manner, knowing that he has a wife and children. It don't matter about skin color in this moment. That is a person, that is a human being. And then at the end of the day, when we get online and we push all of this DEI and it's black people this and it's black people that, and come to find out this man has been shot by someone that looks like him. Can we please, for the love of God, stop the hate and the division? This is why I will never stand on another MAGA stage again. Stop it. Listen, I just
Man, okay. Okay. Um whoa, nope, nope, nope. Can we get some tomatoes in the chat room, y'all? Let me get some another one of my sound effects, because I realized I got some more sound effects. I don't really be playing too many of my sound effects. Like I want a boo sound effect. Let me add another sound effect. Hold on. There should be a large hold on. What's going on? Oh no. Let me add this. Okay. No, we're not doing that. First off, you love his wife, but you don't like him. No. Charlie Kirk was known before he got married. Charlie Kirk ain't been married for no long time like that. Charlie Kirk is really a young man. He's only 31 years old. He looked closer to his 50s, okay, with the balding head and all of that stuff and the no teeth and all that stuff. He looks very old and ugly. But Charlie Kirk is a young man. Charlie Kirk got married recently, okay? When I say that, I mean his wife knew who he was. He had a platform before he got married. Okay, I don't know how long he's known the woman individually, but she knew who he was. She knew the monster that he was, the devil that he was. So she's complicit with that. She never told Charlie Kirk to stop. She never tried to slow Charlie Kirk down. She never condemned anything that Charlie Kirk did. She never did any of that. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, she wanted to be a part of that environment. Birds of a feather flock together. She wouldn't have married Charlie if Charlie was some monster that she didn't agree with, that she didn't condone. She wanted Charlie to raise her children to be just like Charlie. So yeah, his wife, he has a wife. Well, hey, we need to look at the wife. I don't know. Maybe the wife need to be tapped. I'm not saying that. Maybe she need to be monitored. I think so. Maybe the wife needs to be monitored. Let's not know. We ain't gonna do that. And the whole we shouldn't be wishing death. Who was wishing death on Charlie? Who? Nobody's doing that. Charlie was the one out here condoning the deaths of black people. Charlie was the one out here justifying and rationalizing the deaths of black people, whether that's Breonna Taylor, whether that's Ahmaud Arbery, whether that's George Floyd, whether that's Mike Brown, whether that's Eric Gardner. Okay. We can go on and on and on. Whether that's Sonia Massey, come on, we can go on and on and on. Okay, whether that's Trayvon Martin, we can go on and on and on. We can keep doing this. Every single death of a black person, Charlie Kirk justified and condemned the community, calling it black on black violence. He condemned the victim of whoever that was. He condemned the victim. Sandra Bland, we can go on and on and on. And he's always making it seem like the person who shot the black person was somehow the victim. Daniel Penny, come on, let's not do that. He said Daniel Penny was a hero. Okay, all right, well, if that's his definition of a hero, if taking an unarmed person's life, let's be honest, if Charlie Kirk's definition of a hero is taking somebody's life who's unarmed, who's not looking at you, who's not threatening you, who's not harming anybody, okay, because you quote unquote feel threatened or bothered, if that's Charlie Kirk's definition of a hero, then technically speaking, the one who shot and killed Charlie Kirk is a hero by Charlie Kirk's own definition, okay, by his own definition. But we got folk out here. I'm talking about the buck dancing. They out here literally crying. Y'all look at this. This is something. This is sad. This is sad.
I'm quite numb right now. Hearing the news, President Trump posted that Charlie's gone. So many things flooding through my mind and my heart right now. And I'm just trying to hear God in all of this. Obviously, in the natural, it's just heartbreaking. It's horrific. It's tragic. We're praying for Erica and those babies, and for the family, and everyone whose life he touched is feeling the loss right now. And we will, for decades to come. He could have been president one day. He probably would have been.
Probably not. Absolutely not. Not a snowball's chance in hell, actually.
And as I hear and listen to Holy Spirit and listening to God, I can't help but believe that he was assassinated because of the impact that he was having on this generation. Campus after campus, thousands and thousands of young people hungry to hear what he had to say. To be there and show support. This is a man that never preached hate or violence. But one thing he did do, he was very bold in his faith. So to me, what I hear heaven saying, what I hear God saying, is he was martyred.
Keep in mind, he's recording this the day of the incident. So they don't have the suspect. So they don't have any information, but he's already trying to put the jacket of martyr on Charlie Kirk.
This goes beyond politics. He was bold in his faith. Especially in recent years, he was so bold in his faith. He would post scriptures. He would talk about Jesus.
Mind you, Charlie Kirk's last words literally was trying to demonize black people.
And so now he has joined the ranks, if you will, the echelon of those. Literally, I put him in the rank of the disciples.
Now he's comparing Charlie Kirk to biblical figures. Seriously.
Stephen, that was stoned to death. Young man. And as a martyr, I truly believe, and this is why I wanted to come on here. I didn't want to come on here and just talk, but I truly believe that because of this, it is going to be monumental for young people to wake up and understand the spiritual battle that we are in.
That's just too much for me. It's too far. That's too far. Charlie Kirk was martyred. Lord have mercy. You got folk. I'm telling you, the woodworks is running. Charlie Kirk could have been president. Not in this life. Not in this lifetime. Charlie Kirk couldn't have been president. Charlie Kirk could have been president. I don't know what y'all think America has turned into. Charlie Kirk could never have been president. Hell no. We got a better chance of Ron DeSantis becoming president before Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk couldn't even graduate college, let alone talk about some be the president. I'm talking about, but you got them out here, they buck dancing, and then hold on, we got to get, there's still some more Sambos. Okay, Iris Sears, she had something to say about it. Lord have mercy. The white Jesus. Charlie Kirk is white Jesus.
Hello, Virginia. This is a very raw video. Charlie Kirk has died. I don't know what to say. I can't believe that this is how we treat our political opponents. He's got 3 young children. This is not how it's supposed to be.
Notice, I can't help but notice, family. I can't help but notice nobody is saying that this was supposed to be a pause video. Let's not do that. Come on now. Don't interrupt me. This is supposed to be, or they should be framing this as a white crime. This is white crime. Not white collar crime, white crime. Nobody's framing this. Nobody has framed this as white crime. Nobody is framing this as violence in the white community. Nobody is framing it that way. Now, if this was black, they wouldn't be saying, well, this is what happens to your political opponents. Notice that. Notice how white on white crime is never framed as white on white crime. Now, when it's black on black crime, it's always framed as black on black crime, no matter what happens, what the circumstances are, who does it, what the reasons may be. It's always framed as some type of cultural thing. Charlie's done that. Oh, we're going to pull up some of the receipts on Charlie. We're going to pull up that, because if folks are grieving, we're going to show the true history of Charlie, because they're literally trying to say that Charlie Kirk is a martyr. Okay? That's literally what they're trying to say, that Charlie Kirk is a martyr. So, okay, we're going to show the history of him, because if he's a martyr, his history should be known. Don't you think? Now, she's out there. I can't believe we doing this. I mean, I'm talking about the woodworks is just running. They are out there crying and performing. Lord have mercy.
No,
there's another one. Here goes. Oh, come on now. Don't do that. Here goes Sage Steele. Sage Steele is out here.
I still have no idea what the right words are right now to describe what has happened today to, in my opinion, one of the greatest Americans ever. You can disagree with me on that, but I've said it for the last couple of years that I saw the difference Charlie Kirk was making.
One of the greatest Americans ever. Okay. Give me a break.
And going around to college campuses to talk to the youth, to talk to the future of America, to have a conversation, which is what so many people are unwilling and are afraid to do. But Charlie wasn't. And he went around these college campuses and he let kids speak. Let them say what was on their mind, give their opinion, and then he gave his with facts as well. He did what so many people refuse to do. He is the reason why my kids decided they wanted to have an interest in politics and at least be educated. Most importantly, he was such a man of God. Charlie Kirk is one of the reasons that I'm no longer afraid to wear this. I didn't for such a long time. And he gave me the courage to do so. That's what he led with. His faith in God, his love for his wife, his love for his children. And that was his goal, to make this country a better place for his kids and yours and mine. I am heartbroken. I am devastated. And I am livid. What they want is for us to have fear and to go hide because of things like this. And maybe in some ways,
oh no, oh no, oh no. Guys, we got over 2,000 people, and we haven't even been live for 30 minutes. We got over 2,000 people. Y'all, please make sure y'all hit that like button, and y'all make sure y'all subscribe. I know we got a lot of new people in here, but oh no, Charlie Kirk is an amazing person, or whatever the case is. I'm talking about they buck dance, and you even got folks. Listen, Lord have mercy. You even got Alex Jones of all people.
Look, folks, I'm not somebody that cries easily. I was sitting in this parking lot going home. I started crying a few months ago. Charlie Kirk was a really sweet person. I first met him back in 2016 at the RNC in Cleveland. He was so young, maybe like 20-something years old then, so happy, so full of life. He had big plans. He was going to galvanize all the kids on campuses to vote Republican, wake them up to communism. And they killed him today with a high-powered rifle. Classic stuff. It's like crooks in Pennsylvania running around the roof. Nobody's doing anything. And shot.
The reason I brought up Alex Jones is, do you guys remember Alex Jones was the one, he's most known for calling mass shootings staged. It was what the shooting, Alex Jones, don't you think that this is staged? Don't you think that Charlie Kirk might have been a crisis actor? I don't know. Was Charlie Kirk acting? Was this, according to Alex Jones in your history, would you like to say that these events are staged? This is Alex Jones. Don't you think that this is a little stage or suspicious or whatever the case is? Come on, let's keep the same energy now. Let's not do this because Charlie Kirk is a friend of yours. Let's call this the white on white crime that it is. A lot of people are saying up there saying, how could you condone such violence? How could you? Nobody's condoning it. How could you say Charlie Kirk deserved it? Well, all I'm saying is that Charlie Kirk said out of his own self that there would have to be some sacrifices for white power. This is what Charlie Kirk said. Okay. Let's look at what Charlie Kirk said. I just want to remember what he said. If we're gonna make somebody a martyr, we got to remember what he stood on, don't we? Let's not rebrand his life and then make him a martyr. No, let's remember what he stood on. This is what Charlie Kirk stood on.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
Okay,
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
He says he thinks it was worth it. Well, I'll say one thing. Way to die on your beliefs. Okay. I'm not sure if that was the hill he thought he was going to die on, but that's the hill he died on. That's the hill he died on. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to promote that. He wanted to create this environment and stuff like that. And let's be honest, Charlie Kirk is known for attacking and reprimanding and insulting black people, talking about black crime. If we're going to talk about crime in the community, I think that we should take this time to have a mature conversation and reflect on the crime in the community. You know, I didn't have too much time to prepare this, but we've been talking about Charlie Kirk for a very long time. Okay. We've been talking about this for a very long time. Charlie Kirk. We've been talking about that. Okay. And Charlie Kirk on black crime and stuff like that. And culture. Is this a culture issue? Let's listen to Charlie. Now, Charlie's the expert on culture.
Right. So when segregation ended, right, when slavery ended, actually, black people were just forced wherever, right? So they had nowhere to go. And then there was laws put in place to put them into prison. And after...
Okay. It's okay. No. What's your name? Guys, what's your name? Jackson. It takes a lot of courage to come up here.
Yeah, no,
let's just take a deep breath. I'm not here to pick on you.
No,
and I appreciate it.
Together.
No, it's okay. I know this can be very intimidating getting in a crowd like this. So just take a deep breath. Let me make your argument. I'm going to make your argument for you, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's wrong. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So the argument that.
How the hell are you going to make the argument for him and then tell him why it's wrong? This dude said, don't calm down. I'm going to make your argument for you, and then I'm going to tell you why it's wrong.
That is being made, that you want to make, is that there's legacies of injustice.
Yes.
And that those legacies impact one generation after the other. And when those things get handed down, you have what is a system or a systemic issue that isn't just isolated in 2024. So the argument that you're making is that what happened in 1954 does impact 2024 of decade after decade after decade. Let me tell you my response to that. Of course, there is some truth to that. However, every culture, every person in this audience can point to issues that families or generations prior had that we're able to overcome. So the question is, why is it that Black America is one of the only populations, that and Native American populations, that have not been able to overcome such evil, horrors, and injustices? Here's my perspective, and I want to hear what you have to say, is that the number one way to keep people out of poverty, lower the crime rate, and have a better society is whether or not you have a mom and a dad around. Would we agree that's an ideal? Yeah? Cool.
Yeah.
So what happened in 1964 is that 25% of Black youth were raised by a single mom. Today, it's nearly 75%, about 70%. So that means that 1 in 4 Black kids will have a father around. Only 1 in 4. That's the number one issue happening in the country, and it's not because of systemic racism. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Okay.
Can I ask this question to the family, to the chat room, since he's asking questions and talking about the Black fathers or the lack thereof Black fathers in the Black community? Do you think the person that murdered Charlie Kirk had a father? Do you think the person that murdered Charlie Kirk was raised by a single mom? I feel like these are important questions. I feel like these are the questions that Charlie Kirk would be asking. He would be asking, did the person who shot me in the neck and had me limp over and bleed out and die so horrifically in front of thousands of people, were they raised by a single mother, or did they have a father in their life? I think, because if it's about culture, and that's what's holding us back, that I think that we should ask the same question and keep the same energy. All right. This is what Charlie Kirk has been about. This is what Charlie Kirk has been about. We're not done. We're not done.
So I think I misjudged you at first. Like, when you brought up the 1350 stat, I had like just assumed that it was like inherently like eugenics based, kind of, you know. So, and that's where mine came from. Like, I think we are on the same page, that like we know what the problem is, and that's what I mean. Like,
no, and thank you for saying that, because I think we actually have a lot more in common in this country than the media would ever believe.
No, definitely, right? And like what my point was, I was trying to say is, I don't think that we're doing enough to help these Black communities catch up, where as like they're underfunded and they're not, and they're over policed, and there's just these factors that are contributing to, like you said, these single parent households.
Yeah,
like,
so we're not going to agree on this. This is where we'll disagree, and that's okay. I have more of a view of Thomas Sowell on this, where he believes it's far more about culture, values, and worldview than stuff and over policing.
Let's culture, value, and worldviews. So now, listen, this is why we are saying what we have to say, because when things happen in the Black community, it's always about culture. It's about how we grew up. It's about, was the father in the home? It's about, was you raised by a single mom? It's about, were they married at the time? It's about all of these things. It's about everything. It's about the culture and how we grew up. Racism, I guess that exists, but that really is inconsequential to the result of the Black person and the environment. The environment is only because of you, and it's only because if the dad is in the home and So if it's our culture, and our culture is the things that prevent us from being successful and promote violence within our community, we're gonna have to say it's the same thing. Let's not flip it and say, well, that's a political topic. It's not a political thing when it's on Charlie Kirk. Now, it's not political. We don't know the person's political affiliations. We don't know. The person could have been a Charlie Kirk fan. He was just probably trying to get somebody else. I don't know. He might have missed and got Charlie. Who knows? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. And then watch Charlie bring stuff up again.
I believe there's not enough police in Black neighborhoods. You're going to disagree with that. Let's not even get into it, okay? But I think we can ask a question.
He says there's not enough police in Black neighborhoods. That's ironic, because apparently there was not enough police at his rally, and his rally was not in a Black neighborhood. Damn.
want your opinion. Why is it that the single motherhood rate in Black America went from 25% to 75%?
Don't talk about your wife like that. Oh, wow. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. That was that. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't say that his wife is technically a single mom now. That I shouldn't say it. Technically, his kids with it's like poetic justice almost in a way. I shouldn't say that. His kids are technically gonna be raised as a statistic. His kids are gonna have to grow up without a father, and it's gonna breed into the culture of degeneracy, just the same way he's talking right now. It's almost prophetic how he's speaking. He's speaking of a prophecy of his own life, of his own children, of his own upbringing. He's talking about single mothers not knowing that his wife would be one. He's talking about children growing up without their fathers, not knowing that his children would grow up without their father. It's poetic, really. Wow. Who knew?
And over 50 years where America did become less racist.
What, like, why did it?
Yeah, so what caused Black America to go from one of the strongest nuclear family communities in the country to now the weakest by far?
I can't answer your question.
No, that's okay. No, that's great. And again, it's hard to get up and have these conversations. Here's my opinion. My opinion is that, yes, there was some social welfare that subsidized single motherhood, which means it's easier to get cash from the government if you say you are single than if you are married. I think we can agree that's stupid. That shouldn't happen, right? But I would love your perspective on this. Do you think in Black culture, getting married and staying with one woman for your entire life is elevated and celebrated?
No, not at all.
I think that's the problem.
No, it is, and I don't know why this dude said no, not at all. Black people, we all of this thing of black people, we don't celebrate the nuclear family, and black people don't care about the nuclear family. All of that stuff is a big lie. And Charlie Kirk has went around lying, talking about propaganda, promoting propaganda, not knowing that he was going to be a victim of the same things that he was speaking of, the same anti-black views and rhetoric and narrative that he was speaking of. That's what Charlie Kirk became a victim of. Okay. Now that's very interesting. Charlie Kirk is a victim of his own words.
If a group of Black individuals, which happens unfortunately so often, say, we want to go beat up Whitey.
Did y'all hear that? Let me take it back. Did y'all hear that?
Example.
Yes.
If a group of Black individuals, which happens unfortunately so often, say, we want to go beat up Whitey, and they...
If a group of Black individuals, which happens so often, says we want to go beat up Whitey, well, what about the white people who shoot Whitey? I don't know about that. What about that?
Go beat up a white person. Was that a racist thing that they did?
I would have to ask for further context, but yes. Based off of that,
cool.
Yes.
So, but then let's go back to your definition. Because your definition was that it had to be the exercise of power. I'm going to make your definition better for you. Because the exercise of power against a minority group.
Yes.
But in that case, it wouldn't be, because it would be a group of Black individuals versus a white individual.
Correct.
So wouldn't a better definition of racism be a human being or institution prejudicing or stereotyping against anybody else because of their race?
I do agree that is a better there's a better definition in terms of how racism is used in society, in terms of setting people behind not having equal amounts of opportunities in these institutions, specifically colleges, jobs, etc., hospitals. But that is my point. I feel like in this country, we don't talk about enough, and I think that under this presidency...
Don't talk about what enough?
We don't talk about the history and the impact of long-term racism in this country against minorities.
Can I just press pause?
Yes.
That's all we've talked about the last 5 years. I mean, but hear me out. 1619 Project. We have entire Black dedicated channels on Pluto and Hulu and Netflix. We have reoriented the entire national dialogue towards, we had the President of the United States, Joe Biden, take a knee for Black Lives Matter, to have racial reconciliation seminars, to have non-stop race obsession. So I think we've talked about it thoroughly and properly.
So do you think that
You know, I mean, sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day. Okay, let's be honest. Sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day. We've also talked about, to add on to what Charlie Kirk had to say, we have also talked about black on black crime incessantly. We've talked about black on black crime enough. According to Charlie Kirk, you can't over discuss a subject. So in order for us not to over discuss a subject, and then of course that would mean under discuss another very important subject, we should also take this time to not talk about black people. Because like he says, we got black channels, we got Biden taking a knee, and all it is black. You know what, Charlie's right. Charlie is correct on that. We should take the focus off of black people, and now we should pay attention to the real problem. Let's talk about white on white crime. Let's talk about white on white crime. Let's talk about that. I think we should talk about that. Let's talk about the white on white crime, the same white on white crime that took Charlie Kirk's life. I think that that's probably the best thing to talk about. But of course, Charlie Kirk is probably not going to want to talk about that, because I don't know if he has the IQ necessary to hold that conversation, to keep that conversation. Okay. Let's remember, this is also Charlie Kirk, because we got some receipts. And in the very short amount of time, this has been breaking news. I had a lot to do, and I was still able to pull up all of these receipts on Charlie. Let's pull this up. Hold on. Let's talk. If we're going to talk about the issues, come on. Now, this is Charlie Kirk.
You really have to wonder. In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to.
When did any of those people, and this isn't even to defend those people, but when have any of those people said that, yeah, I'm only a federal judge because of affirmative action. I'm only here because of affirmative action, which according to Charlie Kirk means a handout that you don't deserve, even though Charlie Kirk is only Charlie Kirk because of a handout that he didn't deserve, mind you.
Go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. This is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance.
Okay. All right. Remember, Charlie, if we're going to talk about IQs, what was the IQ? Oh, whoa. What the hell? Hold on. My camera. I don't know why that just happened. Press the wrong button there. What was the IQ you think of the person who shot Charlie? I want to know that. I think it's important for us to know the IQ of the person who shot Charlie, because I don't know that. And all of this stuff, let's be honest, Charlie Kirk has been going around denigrating the black community, in particular George Floyd. Now, a lot of people saying he died because he was shot. Do we know that he died because he was shot? I mean, he could have possibly possibly been a victim of an overdose.
Pardon, and I just want to know what your reasoning was.
Same exact way he used to claim. He used to, past tense, because he's not alive today to do it anymore. He used to claim that George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose. Remember that? We don't know what happened.
Officer who murdered George Floyd, pardon, and I just want to know what your reasoning was about that.
Well, George Floyd didn't die because of the police officer. He died largely because of a drug overdose.
Absolutely incorrect. The first thing he does is he completely dismisses the reality, the facts, the proven fact that Derek Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's neck was the cause of death by several medical professionals who testified in court and said that on multiple different autopsies as well too. Then he says he largely died because of a drug overdose. You don't largely die because of a drug overdose. Did you die because of a drug overdose? Yes or no? And the medical examiner said it was a no. Now, were there drugs in his system? That is a fact. But that's not the reason that he died. Medical examiners and professionals have all testified that the reason that he died was because of the actions of Derek Chauvin.
But he had his knee on his neck. We all saw the video.
But the knee on the neck is actually an approved police technique that police departments taught Derek Chauvin to use.
No. Multiple Minneapolis police officials have testified that the move that Derek Chauvin did on George Floyd was completely unauthorized, and he was never taught to use that move, which is why you don't see police officers kneeling on somebody's neck to restrain them, because that's not a use of force that's appropriate.
Do you know that George Floyd was saying, "I couldn't breathe," well before that restraining technique? And
so why'd they use the technique if he already couldn't breathe?
Well, because he was actually resisting arrest, and they had to restrain him, and they restrained him in a way that they were taught to do, which is the knee on the neck technique.
No, he's mistelling the events, okay? Because George Floyd did have a panic attack, and he did ask to leave the vehicle, all right? They had already put him in the vehicle. He was largely complying, to be honest, despite the fact that he was having a panic attack and repeatedly kept saying he couldn't breathe before he was on the ground. Now, he was in the vehicle, and he was saying he couldn't breathe, and he wanted to leave the car, and they removed him from the car. It's not that he was trying to fight them off. He wasn't trying to get away. None of this stuff. Now, Charlie Kirk is framing it as if he was trying to get away or fight the police officers, and they had to restrain him that way. That's not what happened.
Okay, so when does the technique end? Like when they die? Like he said he couldn't.
No, I mean the technique ends when the individual stops resisting arrest.
I'm going to give her points because I think that was a really good and very important question that she asked. Now, we already said that the move that was used was completely unlawful, all right? It was not what was trained to do. It was not procedure. But when does it end? Even if it was, when does that move end? When the person dies? And then he says, well, no, when the person stops resisting arrest. George Floyd was passed out for several minutes. And Derek Chauvin didn't get up until the ambulance came there and the paramedics made Derek Chauvin get up off of George Floyd's neck. He says when a person stops resisting, George Floyd was already on the ground, had handcuffs on him, and two other men outside of Derek Chauvin on top of him. George Floyd was by definition not resisting at all. He was completely complying. And even if you want to say, well, he could have got up the second we got up, when he passed out, was that not the sign to get up off his neck? Was that not the sign at all? So at no point in time did Derek Chauvin get up until he was literally made to by the paramedics.
His cause of death was not asphyxiation, it was drug overdose. He had
that was a part of it. Like he also had a heart thing, and he was on drugs, but he wouldn't have just died if he was standing there. Like they had his.
Well, actually, there's an argument to be made. According to the medical examiner, he was drug overdosing in real time. That it wasn't because of the police officer Derek Chauvin that put his knee on the neck. And again, they were taught to do that. According to the Hennepin County Police Department, they teach that as an approved restraint technique.
This is why I'm not letting Charlie Kirk go out as some type of great debater, because he would go to college campuses and he would debate people. And I'm not trying to say that this young woman is unintelligent or anything, but you're not debating other debaters. You're not debating people who even really watch the trial, because medical examiners testified that George Floyd died because of Derek Chauvin. The autopsy proved that George Floyd died because of Derek Chauvin. Police officers and other officials testified that that move was completely unused. All right. And that move was not taught. These are things that were in the testimony on trial. All right. And people who are debating and they understand and are trained to have quick responses, they would be able to debunk all of that from Charlie Kirk. This is why Charlie Kirk doesn't actually challenge other people on his peer level. All right. This is why he does that. He goes to college campuses and he tries to, I guess, inform or debate people who might have bits and pieces of the story, and then he fills it in and acts like he's so informed on things. Everything he just said there is information that has been disproven and lies that have been disproven.
And by the way, this is just a broader point. Our whole country blew up because of this incident, and it was largely based on a lie. Largely based on a lie. We were all.
What was the lie?
The lie is that there was a white police officer that went after a black person just because he was black, and it just wasn't true.
No, people got upset because they saw injustice. They saw injustice at the hands of the police, and the victim was a black man. And this is something that this country has been seeing and witnessing for centuries. The origin of the police department started off as slave catchers. So when they see injustice in such an egregious way, in broad daylight, on camera, with someone with stone cold, heartless eyes staring at the camera, looking at people, beg somebody to get off somebody's neck, and somebody slowly dying, being strangled at the hands of the police, that's going to trigger people. It's not, nobody thought that Derek Chauvin was out there on the prowl looking for George Floyd in particular. It could have been George Floyd, it could have been anybody else, but what we saw is what we saw, and we saw injustice, and then we did not see the correct response afterwards, because Derek Chauvin nor the other officers were charged afterwards. They were just fired. So we didn't even see the correct disciplinary response, and this enables other police officers and other injustices by the police. So that's why people had that response.
He was resisting arrest.
Okay, but he killed him. Like, that doesn't.
Well, again, the county medical examiner disagrees. The county medical examiner in the original report.
So then why was he? Why did he get sentenced?
Exactly.
Like,
That's a good
no,
question.
I'm saying.
It's because it was largely a show trial where actually they were not allowed to submit
what
evidence.
Trial?
A show trial. A show trial is an example where you put people on display or a show for a political purpose or political means. And this is an example of that, where Derek Chauvin was not given a fair hearing in this trial. He was not even allowed to use the police training handbook in his trial to show that he was taught to use that restraining technique.
Again, even if you want to say it was allowed, if he had an old handbook and he was taught the old school way and that was allowed at a certain point in time, there is no restraint by any police department in America where you can restrain somebody past the point where they lose consciousness and then you not remove yourself and you not try to revive the person. Absolutely not. The fact that he still sat there after George Floyd passed out, that breaks all rules, even if it was, which it wasn't, allowed.
Okay, so what do you want to happen to Derek Chauvin? Like,
pardon.
So he's just free? What is that?
Yes.
What message does that send to, like?
It should be. It's a message that you should get an actual fair trial.
Let's call a spade a spade. We don't know if it was the shot that took him. Maybe Charlie Kirk was bleeding out before he got shot. Maybe it was just like it wasn't the knee who took out that's the reason why George Floyd died. Maybe it's not the knee that killed George Floyd. Maybe it wasn't the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk. Maybe it's not that. I'm not saying it wasn't, but let's be honest, it might not have been. It might not have been. It could have been that maybe Charlie Kirk was bleeding out before he got shot in the neck. Okay. We don't we don't know what the situation is, but it's all him denying the deaths of black people. We don't know that. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen that too often. And all of this evil comes at a price, y'all. All of this evil, all of this chaos comes at a price. Okay. Him belittling the deaths of people comes at a price. You don't think that this stuff is real. It comes back to get you. It always does. Oh, let me make this small because Jubilee be doing the most.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil.
Okay.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil.
Oh, God. Okay.
But what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 Black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
If that's your explanation, but
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been.
That affected
so
the
this is
generational psyche of an entire group of people.
I'm sure.
This is Charlie Kirk saying that the KKK was justified, and there was less "quote unquote" black on black crime because of pretty much segregation and Jim Crow laws in the Klan. And because the Klan was out there assassinating black people, the Klan was out there doing what they had to do against black people, then I guess it is somewhat justified, you know, to reduce the crime. So, hey, listen, let me tell y'all something. Do y'all understand that this is a new time? This is a new era, okay? And when you go against chosen people, when you go against things that are supposed to be, when you go against the order of where the world is going, okay, there will be consequences, all right? When you preach this evil, there will be consequences. When you stand as a vanguard of against justice, when you stand as a knight of evil, there will be consequences for you. Charlie Kirk himself, he has spent his entire career, his entire adult career, standing as a damn, you can call it white knight, quote unquote, against justice. He's mocked every single black death he possibly could. He's condemned no police officer or no mass shooter. The mass shooter of the Boston shooting, he didn't condemn him. The Boston, New York, okay? He didn't condemn him for killing 10 black people, massacring them. He didn't condemn the black shooting that happened in Florida a couple years later. He didn't condemn that. He doesn't condemn that, okay? Remember what Charlie said, some deaths are necessary for us to keep our rights. Charlie promoted that. Charlie didn't defend that. Charlie didn't do anything about that. Charlie defends and condones every single black death. You can look at the way he's talked about Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely. And this type of stuff always comes back to get you. The chickens will come back home to roost. I want to talk about the situation with Charlie Kirk and reparations. We understand that reparations right now is a very divine time for us in our reparations claim and us to get reparations. And Charlie Kirk was one of the main people championing against reparations, platforming any and everybody who was against reparations.
I've got a question for you here. You know, how do you feel about the black community receiving reparations?
I'm against that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why so?
Well, first of all, what is the black community? So, for example, do you mean like recent immigrants from Haiti or Nigeria?
I do not. No.
Okay, for sure. So you're meaning like ancestral descendants of slaves.
Correct.
That could be proven with documentation.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. So to be consistent, do you believe that other groups that have been mistreated in America should also receive reparations?
What are those other groups?
Well, they're not necessarily by America, but let's just take one. Jewish Americans, right?
Okay.
They almost got eliminated in the Holocaust. Should they receive reparations?
Not from us.
Okay, not from us.
Not from the United States, that is.
Okay. So here's my view, and I want to hear yours,
okay,
which is that I did not own slaves, and you were not a slave.
Correct.
Right. So we are individuals, and therefore we cannot be held accountable or should receive something from something that didn't happen to us or something we did not do. That is a basic law of justice, that I can't be held accountable for something that somebody looked like me did, and you should not benefit from something that somebody you were related to. Now, you'll probably say systemic racism and how that passed down to generations. Happy to address that. The problem with reparations, though, is basically what you're saying is I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just?
So not so much how is it just, but there are those arguments that says because of what happened in the past, this group of people have been negatively affected from this nation's crimes against humanity to that certain group of people. And that's how we see it, or how some people see it, if you will.
Okay, sure, but I will say that even if there is some truth to that, which I wouldn't even be willing to grant very much, because Black America was doing incredibly well before the not incredibly well, they were pacing to be even richer than white America, is that we must look through the question of, is it just and moral to take from one group, especially first and second generation immigrants that had nothing to do with this? So think about it. Your tax base would be taxing, like, if anyone here is Irish or Polish and your family came 100 years ago, we would be taxing people that had nothing to do with it. And I'll go a step further. My family fought on the Union side of the Civil War.
I doubt that, because the apple has fallen well far from the tree, if that's the case. And this is something that he's promoted. When you want to be a knight for evil, for the cause of evil, okay, not to be too, we have some people who are in here and who are religious, right? But, people say it's if you want to be a damn soldier of the devil, if you want to be a knight of Satan, if you want to be that way, then you got to understand what comes with that. This is, and unfortunately, for him, the violence and the chaos and the evil and the lack of humanity is what came with that. And he was so focused on making sure that Black culture was demonized and Black people were demonized. Black people were not seen as human beings, and everything was about Black culture. He could not possibly focus on the culture of himself. He could not possibly focus on his own culture, the culture that took his own life. All right. Couldn't focus on that. And then that came to his demise. Let's look at that.
What is the number one cause of Black death in Chicago?
Are you serious?
Other Blacks killing Blacks.
Are y'all
What is the number one cause of Black deaths in Chicago? Well, Charlie, boy, if only you were here to hear this. Can I ask y'all a question? Now, today, let's update that. What is the number one cause of deaths at a Charlie Kirk rally? White on white violence. That's true. The number one cause of white deaths at a Charlie Kirk rally is white on white violence. Damn. It's so interesting that everything he says, he prophesies, but he didn't understand that it was going to be for his own race.
Other Blacks?
Yes.
Other Blacks?
No, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. What's the number one cause of death of Blacks in Chicago?
Where's your substantial evidence?
It's right there, dude. It's the real-time vetted
Where
crime.
does it say it? Where does it say that it's African American? Look at the map.
It says right there.
Where does it say that it's African
Scroll down. It
Americans
shows
doing
by
this?
race actually there.
Are you just seeing that it's people being killed, or are
Tell
you
me.
saying that it's
Right
African
there, by
Americans?
race. Right there. Boom. Owned. Who is killing them?
Who is killing African Americans?
Yes.
People are killing people.
No. What race?
No. And now this, and I saved this clip, and I wanted this clip to do this. Now, when y'all talk about everybody out there, no, let's not do that. Don't make it political. No, we can't make this political. I don't care if the person who did it was a liberal. I don't care if he was a libertarian. I don't care if he was a Democrat. I don't care if he was I don't care what his political stance was. I don't care if this man was old, poor, if he was LGBT, if he was trans, if he was whatever the case is. No, because when this brother said, no, it's people killing people, Charlie Kirk said, no, you got to racialize it. So when Charlie Kirk, according to Charlie Kirk, the crime that happens in Chicago needs to be racialized. Okay, then. So the crime that happens in Utah now needs to be racialized. We can't say, well, no, this doesn't have to do with race. It's not white people killing white people. Nope, let's not do that. According to Charlie, if we're going to honor somebody, they said that Charlie Kirk was a damn martyr. If we're going to honor somebody, let's do it what he said. Let's do what he said. Charlie Kirk said, when you see a crime that happens in the city, racialize that. So let's do that. Let's racialize the crime that happened tonight. We're not going to do that where you racialize it when there's black people and then when there's white people. Now you get to say it's about politics. It's about political beliefs. It's about something that doesn't have to do with your whiteness. Now, all black crime has to do with our blackness. It has to do with our hair, our skin, our facial features. It has to do with our DNA. It has to do with our blackness. But crime that happens in the white community has everything but their whiteness to be blamed. No, absolutely not.
Race is killing them.
Why are y'all trying to act like African Americans are just solely murder? People are killing people.
No. What race is killing? Is it white people killing blacks or blacks killing blacks?
People are killing people, Charlie.
Okay, but hold on. What race is
You're
killing
saying
the other
what race is killing what race more? That does not matter.
It does matter because it's a black on black problem.
It's a
and
black
blacks
on black
need to
problem,
solve
or is
the
it a
problem
crime
of black
problem?
on black
Is
violence.
it a black on black problem or is it
Okay, hey, come on. If let's just keep that same energy, okay? We're not gonna sit up there and be all like, this is a political thing. Nope, we're keeping that same damn energy. He said this is a problem that the black community needs to address. It's something that, okay, fine. Well, let's all take a moment to address the white on white crime in their community. All right, let's talk about their culture and their fathers and the households that they were raised in. Let's talk about the music that they listen to. Let's talk about all of that. Okay, you're not going to sit up there and make it seem like this is some pathologized thing in the black community when you want to talk about Chicago for your narratives. Okay, you want to spew all of this propaganda, but then when it's white on white crime, it's everything but about white people. No. Okay, you are around pretty much nothing but white people, and you were shot and killed by white people as you were speaking on black people. So I'm not gonna, and y'all want to talk about Charlie Kirk's, what he's done to this country. If we're gonna do anything, I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember this right here of Charlie Kirk. Okay. This is somebody who says, is people killing people? Charlie said, no. Look at the race of the person who did it. So all I'm saying is, fine, Charlie. We're going to look at the race of the person who shot your ass in the neck.
Is that a crime problem?
It's a black on black problem that is a crime problem. Somehow, if it was a black on black problem, oh, it's a crime problem. It's systemic injustice. That the police
No,
not
what
enough
you're
funding.
saying, these races might have a easier time with policing, and yeah, they're gonna have nearly response time of 2 seconds.
Wait, it's the police's fault that so many blacks are killing other blacks?
Who just said that?
You did.
I said that?
Yes. No, but
Girl,
no,
please.
I want you to tell me, why is it that black Americans are 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders?
Where can you show me that?
Again,
and that's not true. That's not true. We're 13%. The 1350 thing, how did that work out for Charlie Kirk? If we the 1350 and Charlie Kirk got the damn bullet in the neck, ain't that something? Oh, ain't that some irony? Because I'm sitting up here talking about it right now. Now, if I was to be the one, if somebody in the black community, if somebody in Chicago was to be shot in the neck in front of thousands of people like that, okay, he would be talking about the 1350 is 13% of the population, but 50% of the violent crimes, 50% of them. That's what he would be talking about. Okay. So if that's the case, what percentage of the people shot your ass in the neck, Charlie? What percentage?
Anyone near you can show you the stats, right? It's right there. Look, man.
Let's read it. 70% of offenders were African American. Wait.
Okay. Hey, okay. Charlie. Well, Charlie. This is, all I'm saying is Charlie's the one who made sure he campaigned, he roared, and he said, no, we cannot talk about a crime without making sure we add race as an element to it. We have to add race as an element to this crime. So all I'm saying is let's keep that energy then. All I'm saying is we're not going to sit up there and act like it's not about race. Because all of these people they would be chomping at the bit. Imagine if it was a black man who shot Charlie Kirk. Oh, Lord. Imagine if it was a black man who did that. It would have been, oh, the whole black community is evil. That's what they would be saying. So if that's the case, then that's the case. If that's the case, then that's the case. But we got a lot of people who have a lot to say about the situation. The news is still breaking. We don't know exactly what everybody's going to say. We know some people are upset and some people are crying. Apparently, they've lowered the flags for Charlie Kirk, who's just a political influencer. That's what he is, a political influencer. All right. He's never been an elected official. He never served in the military. He's not a judge or anything like that, but they're lowering the flags, which is something they only do for people who actually like were elected officials or former not even elected officials, really former presidents. Okay. But that's what they're doing for Charlie, the white supremacist Kirk.